That's pretty cool. Well, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Freedom to Fight. I'm your host, Anura Mathis, and I'm super excited to introduce this episode. I'm so excited that I already released the video with no edits or anything because I needed people to be able to watch it right away. Unbelievable experience. So I will introduce my next guest. He is the Buggy Choker, Austin Hardt. He's an amazing person, and I think you'll really love this episode as much as I do. So without further ado, Austin Hardt. And then we'll know it's telling the truth.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. It's okay. Okay. Hi. Hi, Austin.
Hey.
My name is Anura Mathis. I'm the host of Freedom to Fight. And so, yeah, we're going to have the interview, and I'm going to just talk just as normal. So this is how goofy and silly I am. I forget stuff. I can solve like really complex problems, but I also trip over stuff. Yeah, I'm
You're good.
normal.
Thank you so much for having me on this.
Thanks for coming. I'm like, I haven't even told I told my family, but they don't even know what that means because I just got into martial arts. So it's really funny.
Awesome. Yeah, congrats on your competition you were talking about. It's
Yeah,
all
I'm not gonna compete, but I definitely will maybe next year once I know I'm fully recovered from the concussion. But um, I'm going to pause and ask you to introduce yourself and your titles and all the stuff that comes along with your name.
Oh, thank you. I'm Austin Hart. I'm a psychiatric nurse. I love jujitsu. I'm a Ralphie Gracie blue belt out of Ralphie Gracie Berkeley with Professor Eduardo Fraga. And I've been training jujitsu since college, so maybe 15 years on and off.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, uh, the if you heard of the legend of the Buggy Choke, the white belt, that's me. Yeah.
I'm so thrilled. I have to know this move and how to do it, and just I'm kind of obsessed just with jujitsu in general, but that this is something new because that's my part of my personality. It's just figure out how to improve this. So
Oh,
so excited about that.
thank you. Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I remember you were telling me you were working on the technique. That's dope.
I want to work on it, but I just I if I'm not practicing in a gym, with people, I'm
Mm,
not. I mean, I shadow box at home. I do stretches and stuff for jujitsu. I do practice things, but not like
mm,
moves without a person. So
yeah,
I haven't been able to, practice
yeah,
the buggy choke.
yeah. It's tough without a partner. That makes sense.
Yeah, I have a puppy that gets some of my jujitsu moves. She and she naturally frames and
Mm,
gets out and stuff. So
nice.
it's a fun time.
So,
I'm gonna ask you. So 15 years. Start from the beginning of your jujitsu
oh man.
journey.
Okay, so in high school we didn't have wrestling, but my best friend Kyle and I, we'd grapple to submission. We didn't know any technique, but it's like, okay, we just go till somebody gives up. And we had one summer. we had this video game, and there were 5 of us that wanted to play it, and only 4 controllers. So, the loser out of the 5-man grappling tournament couldn't play. So that was probably my introduction to grappling. And I remember I dropped my buddy David on his face. I locked him up in like a full Nelson from behind. I dropped him on his face, and he tapped out on the impact. It was in my grandma's backyard. And I remember my best friend Kyle, he put me in kind of like rear naked choke, but instead of like putting the hooks in with his feet, he put his knee in my back, and he was like pulling my neck up, choking me, and he's like, "Give up, bitch, before you choke to death." um, yeah, and then in college, my buddy Jay Kala, he showed me like rear naked choke. He showed me so like he let me put him in a rear naked choke, and then like I had my feet crossed, right? And he was like, "I'm gonna tap you out in 2 seconds." I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'm about to choke you out." And then he put the feet over, extended, and I was like, "Oh my god." And then a bunch of the Hawaii guys in college would go train with, I think, Dave Terrell in Napa, if I recall. I went down there one time years later with a coworker I worked with in Napa. Good guys out there. And then, um, let's see, uh, there was a free jujitsu class with Bay Jiu-Jitsu um, that was advertised, and my ex-girlfriend was like, "Hey, let's go do this." So, I thought I was tough. Thought, I lifted a little bit of weights back then. So, um, I went out to the class, and I was like, "Oh, I'm a badass. I could beat this instructor. He's like 40 pounds lighter than me. He's a little short guy. He whooped me like 7 times, like nothing. And I went outside, projectile vomited. I was like so exhausted. And I was like, "Oh my God, I just got, put to shame in front of my ex and my girlfriend at the time." I was like, "How did this guy do this to me? I got to learn this." And yeah, then I went to Ralphie Gracie Berkeley, and my dumb ass was like, "Oh, they grapple in pajamas. That's not real fighting. Yeah, I'm cool." And then I went in there, and the white belts all choked me out, like whooped me like nothing. I remember this one dude, Alexei, was he's a white belt, little lighter than me, and I was like, I was sure I was gonna win. I was sure I could get him, and he put me in like a chicken wing, bow and arrow choke, uh, and I went to sleep, and I woke up thinking I had won. I was like, "Good job tapping out, bro." He's
Oh.
like lifting eggs, like, bro, what the hell are you talking about? Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
and this other dude, Mark J. Acosta, he was like red,
Yeah.
he was
I
or purple belt at the time, and I had probably 50 pounds on him. I was on top of him, like driving pressure, trying to choke him from on top, and he's like playing open guard with his feet on my hips. He lifted my butt in the air and cross collar choked me like asleep from underneath me. And I woke up that time, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is legit, literal magic." Like, if this tiny dude can choke me unconscious from a position I thought I was crushing him. I was like, I gotta learn this. This is real magic. This is like Naruto powers. So I was hooked.
share or someone's to ask from what you shared. I have to go back to the beginning because
Mm.
I'm not a boy. I wasn't I had a lot of brothers, so I was raised as a boy. But uh throwing your friend on the ground face first as a as a kid in your grandmother's house. What happened? Like what was the next couple of scenes after that?
So actually, I left out the part where he was tossing me around the yard and ragdolling me and just whooping me for maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes. And then he got tired. I guess he tired himself out because he didn't finish me. He was just stronger than me and whapping me around. So I got him in the full Nelson, and then like we were both standing. I was standing behind him, and then dropped him just like timber, just right in his face with his arm himself at all. Um, he just kind of groaned and he gave up. I forget what he said exactly, but yeah, he tapped out. And then so I lost to Kyle and Tim and Josh, I think, or Paul. Anyway, I barely made the cut. So then we played that game all summer, and David never got to play. Uh, that's about it.
Something I can relate. The whole game thing. I have a huge family. So um I had four brothers. I have three. My oldest brother passed away last year, but I have
Very sorry.
two sisters. Thank you very much. So there I still have a lot of siblings. And we didn't all get a turn on the video games, especially me. And they they picked on me, and I'm still the same. Like I wasn't violent as a kid. I wasn't picking fights or anything. I just wanted to play and be a part of things.
Yeah.
I learned all of the video games by watching my brothers play. So then I learned all of the levels, and then I got better than them. And they still picked on me. They would fart in my face when I would take naps after school. Bare ass. When I go back home to Texas for the holiday, everybody's getting their ass beat. Everybody that didn't know that I was training in martial arts and now I'm good. I'm getting
You're like,
everybody.
fart on me now. Fart on me now. I wish you would.
That was the extent of the violence. There was no throwing people on their faces. Multiple, like, doing this on a regular basis was not tolerated in my household. So
Yeah.
thank you for giving me some perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandma probably wouldn't have tolerated it either. I don't think she knew we were fighting in the back.
Oh, but that applies to martial arts in a way. It is connecting with your animal, the animal part of you.
Totally.
That may not. It doesn't actually have to come out in certain ways. It can be structured and controlled, and but I what I've learned through martial arts is accepting the shadow self, like accepting that sometimes if somebody's threatening you, you're gonna have to kick them out. You're gonna have to do it because it's you or this person.
Yeah.
And now, like all of the crisis situations I've been since I've moved to the state, you better fucking do that because that's your life.
Yeah.
That's why I got into martial arts is because there's a lot of unsafe situations since the pandemic, and you need to be in shape. You need to be healthy. You need to have your sleep mastered, your water down, your supplements, all of your health stuff, your mental health stuff. Go to a therapist or go to a church or do whatever you need to do because we're still in a pandemic and more things are coming. They're coming.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a big part of what drove me to really invest in training is like I work in acute psychiatric hospitals for the last 12 years. And, you know, jiu-jitsu is perfect for that because you have violence somewhat routinely, really. And you have situations that, you need to be able to safely and non-violently control someone to keep them safe or to keep them from killing somebody. And if you can do that without striking, if you can do that without, I mean, obviously you can't strike. You're in the hospital, you're in a professional.
Immediately.
Yeah. But there's, I mean, if you have jujitsu, you can hold somebody, you can like even before it comes to a physical situation, you're not scared because you know you're ready to protect them. You know you're ready to protect yourself in a way that won't get you in trouble. You know you can, keep the person safe. You know you can keep yourself safe. So you don't have the same like fear reaction where you might, a lot of fears are from of anger or just, like it's much easier to calm somebody down if I'm actually not afraid of them. But if I'm like afraid, they're gonna sense that, It's like you said, the animal part of us, like, and that's something I love in jujitsu too, is how you can like feel your partner's thoughts. Because you can feel everything they're trying to do. They're trying to, you can feel their sneaky Kimura say, you know. So it's so cool to be able to have it play into being useful in my career as well. And it also puts coworkers at ease, knowing that you train. Like they feel safer with you there. Um, so and the patients too. After let's say a patient's there for like 3 months, and let's say some violence happens like 2 or 3 times in that period of time. Let's say they're not even violent, it's somebody else, but if the patient witnesses you compassionately protecting someone, or in a violent situation, efficiently handling it, and and they can tell you're not afraid, they can tell you can maintain that compassionate, sincere, caring kind of calmness. It's man, goes a long way for them wanting you around. you know Job security.
I I'm glad that
I'm glad that you brought up a couple of different aspects, but the aspect of it, jujitsu changing the energy and the
Yeah,
environment that you're in. It's
100.
it's it brings safety instead of the opposite. It
Yeah,
brings calm instead of the opposite, which that's what I was terrified of. Every MMA fighter and in the UFC, just I couldn't even look at it because I'm such a sensitive person. When
mhm,
I see someone hurting, I feel they're hurt. So
right.
it's not that was never enjoyable to me
Hmm.
until I learned what that was. So now that I know what it is, it doesn't scare me. It's sometimes there's some very serious fights that happen in the UFC that are terrifying,
Oh
but
yeah.
it, the idea of it is not scary. I've been punched in the face plenty of times. I mean, because I didn't move, like I didn't block or whatever.
Yeah, I got to work on my head movement too.
Right. But to not make too light of that, because I'm recovering from a concussion, so I know that there were some things that were, as far as safety, I didn't do, and things weren't done that way. But for the most part, it's um, look at that as the same way that I look at life. I mean, that's a karmic relationship. So karma is hitting me in the face, and if I want to move, then or not get hit, I've got to utilize the skills that I'm learning. So if it's literally in Muay Thai, or if it's patient. I don't want to activate a patient that's already activated, that's already in an unfamiliar situation around professionals that I don't know what's their relationship with a professional. Is it has everybody else tried to hurt them before they got here?
Right.
There's so many things to think of. If I could bring that aspect of not activating someone and using my skills to keep up an environment calm, like that's life. I just learned everything I need to about life and relationships.
Awesome. Totally. Yeah. There's been one couple stories come to mind. One is a guy, big tall dude. He's like, you know, he's a badass dude. He comes from a rough situation, and they brought him in the hospital, and they put him on a 2-week psychiatric hold. After his first 3-day psychiatric hold, he's pissed off. he's trying to hold it together. He's not trying to get in more trouble. He's trying to, just do whatever the doctor wants him to do and then get out. He's trying to hold it together. He's pissed off. He's stressed out. And he's trying to distract himself. He's playing some cards on the table in the day room. And there's other patients around, staff around. And this one kid, some other patient, I guess he's like, can't handle noise, or he gets real irritable, and he doesn't really speak up for himself. So, I don't know what was going on with that guy, but the sound of the one dude who was stressed out playing cards, he's just like shuffling the cards and trying to distract himself with the cards. I guess it irritated the guy, the young man sitting next to him, and that dude threw a book at gangster dude's face, and they
no.
threw the book at his face. Like, he's like way smaller, right? And like soft kid. I don't know what he was thinking, but he threw a book at dude's face, and then dude started punching him in the face and choking him with both hands. So, people start screaming in there. So I run over there. My other coworker Chris runs over there. We each grab one of dude's arms because he's trying to choke the kid who's like down on a chair in the corner. And he rips his arm free from Chris, so it's just me holding him now. I figure more staff are coming for backup, but they're not there yet. But he rips his arm free and he goes to try to hit the kid more. So I'm like, all right, I got to take him down. So I pull him down backwards on top of me. And then, like, by that time, there's like two other dudes there. I think it was, anyway, names aren't that relevant, but it was Joe, Mark, and Noel, or Joe, Mark, and Jess. So it's four of us holding dude on the ground, and he just powers up. He stands up with all four of us holding him down. We can't even hold him down. So I'm on his right arm. Chris is on his left arm. We got the two dudes on one on each leg, and he's fighting us. He's like, hulking. And he's like, let go of me, let go of me. And I'm like, bro, relax your body. We're gonna let go of you. Stop fighting. We're gonna let go of you. As soon as you relax, he won't hear it. He's still fighting. He's like, let go of me, let go of me. I'm like, bro, you got nothing to lose by trying this. Just relax your body. We're gonna let go of you. Just stop moving. We're gonna let go of you. He stopped moving. He believed me. I was like, you gonna hurt us? You gonna fight anybody? He goes, nope. Shakes his head. And I'm like, guys, let go. So then we all let go. And then, he's standing there. He's like shaking how pissed off he is. He's like, I'm already stuck in this damn hospital. This motherfucker just disrespected me, threw a book at my face. Like, I'm already trying to hold it together and I got to deal with this. This is ridiculous, right? So I was like, all right, bro, what can I do? What can I do to help you out? Like, help you calm down? He was like, give me 10 Vikes, 10 Vicodin. And he had an order for two Vicodins because he had back pain or something. So I hooked him up with the PRN Vicodin, and then I called the doctor for some like extra meds, Ativan, probably some Haldol, Benadryl, something like just like calming meds. And then because he wasn't psychotic, he's just pissed off. He's in a rough situation. Dude just disrespected him. It's like I wasn't even mad at him. I'm like, I'm not saying to do it, but it's kind of understandable. So it's like, just help the dude calm down. So like he wasn't violent any further for that whole hospitalization. He got out, but like maybe 6 months later, he came back to the hospital, and I remember when they were rolling him in on the stretcher, and he was like, "Hey, Austin, jujitsu." And he remembered me, and he was cool the whole hospitalization. He didn't hurt anybody. So like that's one example where like my experiences with jujitsu, it's like you can take a situation that could be just like deeply traumatic. Like that situation could have gone really bad where he's fighting us. A lot of times in the psychiatric hospital, they're just going to grab you, they're going to scoop you up, tie you down to a bed, give you shots of sedating medications. It's super traumatic, and that doesn't build trust with the providers. It doesn't build an alliance with where you might be able to get help with if you're really sick, or you're really in a rough situation where you can't control your behavior from being dangerous to yourself or others. So, from there, like we took that situation and made it into something where he developed trust in the care team. He developed trust in myself. He, because I told him, I was like, look, everything you're saying makes sense to me. You have every reason to want to hurt this dude. He just disrespected you. He just threw a book in your face. You're already stressed out. So like, there's nothing crazy about what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, you got to take something to calm down. But yeah, it can really be a game changer, like lifesaver in all sorts of ways, jujitsu. And like, man, if all cops train jujitsu, we'll have like so
Yeah,
fewer abuses, shoots, all kinds of stuff. It's just man. I think like I know Hiron and Henner Gracie are doing great things with training the cops and getting a lot of police training, advocating for that as well.
I want to say
two things, but something about the cops, because you're just bringing up cops, police officers. My one of my first intentions in starting like group therapy was really with police officers and people that have been unfortunately criminalized like police officers or people that have been in the system and not the right way. So having a space for them to talk and try to reconnect that in every community. It's an idea. It's a model from a different group that I've connected with, and I can't think of their name right now. But I think jujitsu is one aspect, and a huge aspect. It will literally save people's lives. But also having the aspect of human beings, and that's something that is removed from the conversation, that it's them and it's us, or vice versa. They're human beings that are not getting enough support. And if there is a place for everybody to talk as human beings, that this scared the shit out of me, like this, like all of that stuff, there can be some healing, and not this, we're putting human beings on a pedestal and expecting them to do everything, mental health care, everything. Like police officers are not trained to do that. It's not fair. It's just where I'm getting at. I have other arguments as well, but that's the argument I want to make, is that if we give people what they need, then our systems will look better. It'll reflect, what we're putting in. And it would be really nice for people not to fear police officers for one reason or another. Yeah.
That would be amazing if we could get there. Yeah.
I want to help that.
I don't know how to do that while I'm trying to get everything else off the ground, but soon I want to start those groups.
Awesome.
The other thing I want to share is it's traumatic. So I want to preface that. I had a situation happen to me while I was in the hospital, similar to the story you just told me. And it's really new, because I was just in the hospital the end of October, and it's just now November. So a lot of mistakes that the hospital made. They're also human beings. They're also human beings working a system that was made by human beings. So there's fault in the system. Yeah. So I got trained in a hospital. For my internship, I was in a county hospital in Texas, and I was also in a community center. So we helped the students on campus, but people in the community as well. So I did 2 internships, and I had a relationship with that hospital prior, because I was doing research as a volunteer. So I have worked in hospitals. I've trained with doctors. I've seen the mistakes they make. I've seen the mistakes that we make as mental health professionals. It's mistakes are to be expected. My situation, I was the one to reach out to the ambulance. I was reaching out because I knew something was wrong. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, because I've never had a concussion before, but I knew something was wrong, and I needed to my blood pressure was high. I knew I needed to go. So, and having them come out, I think there was some miscommunication because I was talking to my therapist about it too. I'm a therapist. I'm going to tell my therapist what's going on in my life, and that it's not a what's the term I'm thinking? It's not a suicidal or homicidal issue. I assured that with her and hopefully the crisis line, but I don't think that was communicated. So when the ambulance showed up, they were there for a different reason, and they addressed it. So I was on the phone with my dad and uncle, conference call. I'm like, I need to get to the hospital now. So how do we do that? They're in a different state. They're away from me. But I'm getting a knock on the door from the ambulance, and I'm upstairs because I have a townhome, and they're yelling at me. They're yelling at me to come down. I open the door. My townhome is stairs first. So it's, some people have the stairs on the outside, I have the stairs on the inside. So it's a tiny little doorway with stairs, and then there's the top level. So letting one ambulance in, one employee in, he was still very close to me. Wasn't wearing a mask, shouting at me. I have my family on the phone. He's trying to hang up the phone. I'm like, you're in my house. Listen, we're going to have to do something real quick because this is not okay. I'm sitting on the stairs and he's hovering over me. I'm having a panic attack now.
You're like,
because this person is threatening to me. That's what's happening.
Absolutely. They're in your home. You've done nothing wrong, nothing illegal. You called for help. You're not suicidal. You're not homicidal. And he's coming up on you like that. It's like, oh.
My dad and my uncle were on the phone. They're talking to him. This is being recorded on my Ring door camera. All of this is happening incredibly wrong. And I'm having a panic attack because I can't figure out what the fuck is happening. So I asked this man to get out of my house very nicely. I said, I'm going to get a neighbor to take me. I'm not going to get in a car with you now. We're not going to do that. There were nearly 10 outside of my window at like 7 a.m. and I'm in my pajamas. Let's come on, guys. Okay. There were mistakes that were made. They left. This is a scene in my neighborhood. I live in one of the richest areas in the state. I'm the only Black person on my street. I'm going to get some attention. So my neighbor to take me. I told the hospital I have a concussion. They didn't even believe I did martial arts. I had to convince them that that's what I was doing. I had to convince them I'm a trauma therapist. They didn't even ask what I do for a living. They didn't know any of that, but they treated me as somebody that's lying about their condition and not wanting medication. And they gave me Benadryl, and I went to sleep and woke up and felt better because I had a concussion. They didn't test for those things first. And then they wrote on my discharge paperwork symptoms or something like that from a concussion, and gave me instructions of, so that was the most traumatic event that started 2 other traumatic events of me returning to that same hospital, 3 times total, still having to convince them that I'm not mentally ill. I lost some people in my family, so I'm grieving, but I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I shouldn't have to do this. I'm paying you to take care of me while I can't take care of myself. And you're asking me the same questions over, and I am so intelligent, apparently, that I was able to kind of ask those questions back to them and test them, and just like any other client, I guess. But the biggest thing is that when they're putting my name in their system, they're realizing that my clinical notes are in their system because I worked for the hospital system. So I guess maybe there'll be an apology or something instead of me having to make this or that public. Like, I don't understand how a hospital, a group of people are taught to
handle or manage or whatever the word somebody's mental health in this way. How is that not going to be traumatizing for them? They strapped me down 2 times. They
Right.
put me in an observation room to make sure that I wasn't dangerous once they realized that I did martial arts. So I was strapped down twice.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it really it is appalling how frequently people in a psychiatric hospital kind of they get like jaded. They get like they just assume there's something wrong with how you think, or just like assume that you're kind of crazy or something, most likely, and then they treat you like that instead of like assuming this is a human brother or sister, and who knows what they're going through, who knows what it's like in their experience. And my purpose and my role is to support and to protect and to serve that person. And it's not my role at all to judge them. Okay. It's like, uh, man, if anything, it's my purpose is to like build trust with that person by demonstrating trustworthiness in the littlest things, like offering snacks or like something to eat, or like ask them what they need, or like, it's not about, you know, oh, I'm the professional, so what I think about this person is right. It's like you said, I'm in business because they came to this hospital, without, that's my livelihood. Like, if people didn't have problems, then I wouldn't have a job. But that's
Oh,
not to say that the majority of people in the psych hospital, they're not crazy. The majority of them. Now, like a lot of them, they're very crazy. They're really psychotic. But it's not the majority. The majority that I care for, and I work on all sorts of units, um, uh, they're not crazy. They're just like maybe depressed, maybe, you know, traumatized. Trauma is a huge element for a huge portion of the population. Um, and like you're talking about, concussion. Oh my God, we're still developing our understanding of proper treatment for that. Yeah, I'm gonna reiterate some of the greats that I've heard say. Rose Gracie is doing some of the most amazing, just God's work on concussion and concussion recovery and treatment, CTE, and there's a lot of good stuff happening with that, because the symptoms are not well known, and they could be misdiagnosed as psychiatric, illness. And it's like, no, this is like, concussion is legit, like, and the effect lasts a long time sometimes, like over years, you know.
it could be years.
Yeah,
They said a couple of weeks to a few years. And
yeah,
when I read that the first time I went, I panicked and I cried, everything,
of course.
because that could mean that could have meant I was in a coma. It
you
could
know
mean that I don't have access to my intelligence anymore, which means you, if you have a concussion, you can't even drive. And I was
yeah.
a driver for Lyft for a while. Like
Mm.
everything stopped. Like,
Mm.
but the more the what took more of my energy was convincing this hospital I wasn't crazy. That I actually know the protocol a lot better than you do. I taught the protocol to doctors in your hospital system for free. I don't
You're like,
everything happens for a reason. I don't know what to do because I'm trying not to be an egotistical person. I know that I have an ego, but I
me
make
too.
sure that that's not, I'm not a monster. I'm not crazy. I'm trying to make sure that that's the case. And it's like, what am I supposed to, I know things more than they do, like more, way more. I've worked in private practice. I worked under somebody, meaning that I basically worked for myself. Through all of my trauma, I was able to establish a virtual office. I had an in-person office. I had a caseload. I helped people get better while I was getting better during a pandemic. And they actually got better from me rather than the other professionals that they, so I have to give myself credit because I know you have to know that it's not an ego thing, it's a factual thing. You need to know where you stand as a professional. I know what I'm talking about. I learned EMDR therapy last year, and while I was also getting the therapy, so I was looking from both sides and able to kind of teach that in my training class. Like, these are my experiences. I know that this works this way because I've gone through it. That's the past 10-15 years of my life has been me getting mental health care in one way or another, or me getting the education around mental health care and applying that to my life. I mean, I know it very well, and I know the hospital did not know it well at all.
Yeah, it's that reminds me of so one of the units I work on most frequently is part of what we do is like an eating disorder program. So one of the things that happens, like with somebody who's, say, anorexic and starved themselves for like a couple months, once they start eating again, they get something called refeeding syndrome a lot of the time, and that part of the symptoms of that include leg swelling. So uh, I was thinking back to cutting weight for tournaments like years ago. And I remember one time I cut weight for like about a month. I was like on a really strict weight cut program and diet. And I think I lost about 30 pounds in the month. And then, so then, of course, after I made weight and fought, and then I came home and I was like, oh, it's time to eat. It's time to eat. I can eat anything I want. Oh, let's get like, just ridiculous, just fast food, desserts, whatever, And so I was like playing video games and eating my ass off, and like a couple days into it, I was like, oh my God, my legs are swollen. Like, what is this? I never experienced this before. And I mean, it just went away after a day or two. And I always wondered what that was. And then just working on this eating disorder unit, I was like, oh my God, I had refeeding syndrome. So I don't know. It's like, I think your example is even better than that I mentioned, for like, in that, like, if you've experienced something helpful for like something that you went through that other people that you're caring for are going through, you understand it to a level that, like, it makes it so that you'll be able to help them in a way that they'll feel seen, they'll feel understood, they'll feel like you get them. And that is so primary for trust being, an option, if, for their experience. um Man, it's just like, and it's a lot of times it's without even words, without like saying anything. They can you can when someone gets you and when someone's just like, you know saying the right words, or like, just trying to be understanding or be supportive, but they don't get it, they don't know what you're talking about. You can feel that. So it's huge. I love what you said.
Thank you. It's like dating. um, there's I'm kind of sort of trying to do that, but getting really good at picking out liars and
Good.
picking out, somebody, that's just trying to put on the charm. It will literally save your life, but it matters so much. Like, I connected with all of the professionals there at the hospital, regardless of how they treated me. And uh, it matters so much for them to show their authentic self, because I don't want to have to catch you in a lie and call you out, and they were like, sign this paperwork to go home, and it says don't sign anything while you have a concussion. That's like the main thing it says on your paperwork. Okay, do you want me to leave or what? I don't know what you want.
Oh my God. Twisted.
It's all of the flaws in our system that I want to help improve. So that's where I'm going to go. And I hope the hospital makes amends or whatever. I'm not going to be living in that area anymore. It's crazy over there. I need to be able to do this. And you said something earlier when you were giving your life story or your journey, your jiu-jitsu journey,
Yeah,
about being able to like feel what your partner is going to do is intuition to me. And I'm a very introverted person. My personality type, if you know anything about that, is an INFJ. It's one of the rarest in the world, yada yada. Whatever. I don't care about that recognition, but it's nice to label uh quirky things. And my intuition is the strongest part of me. And so um that I've had people that I've rolled with or trained with say that my timing is impeccable. And that is my childhood. I was raised in a Buddhist temple. Like I was raised into practicing reaching your intuition and connecting with the room or connecting with people and yourself like regularly for all of my life. So now I'm 36. So I practice meditation all the time, but that's part of where it comes from. But also music and dance. You got to know when to. It's not really dancing if you don't. It is dancing, but it's not good dancing unless you're like actually in tune with the music and moving on the beat and stuff like that. So I dance. I dance hours a day, most day, like for I don't know, like 20 years, something like that. Like I love music and dance, and I sing, and I mentioned that I'm trying to record my first song. So
awesome.
it's all reinforcing my intuition, and so like knowing how to feel other people, that's empathy. That's a crucial part of being a human being and being alive, is to have your intuition, your empathy for someone be strong and healthy. And so I just wanted to say that I think that that's a beautiful aspect, and it connects us more with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so Dalai Lama right now. You're like several quotes are going off in my head, like like we are social creatures. We need to be warm-hearted and to take care of one another. And to do that, we have to remember what we have in common as human beings, you know. So it's not when I go to work, I'm not a nurse taking care of patients. I'm a person taking care of people. It's not, I'm not above anybody. I'm not below anybody. We're just, and then that the in-group, out-group thing in our, if someone's like us, then it's like natural to have the empathy for them. If someone is the same as us, if we're focused on the similarities, rapport and trust and care is kind of natural, as opposed to like if that's the out group, if that's the other, if that's the enemy tribe or whatever, then there's like a natural, you know, defensiveness or excluding and or to the point of violence and just total refusal to treat them like a human being. And we see all sorts of examples of that in our society, in psychiatric settings, in police interactions. And actually, I don't know anything more powerful than jujitsu to improve that. Because jujitsu it's not just the physical element of it, but the relational part and the energy part of that. You don't have to be afraid, and they can feel that. You can maintain your sincere compassion and support without aggression. And I mean, it's just like, and then the element of self-improvement and helping each other to grow and to learn to better yourself, and the physical health element of it is so healthy. It's like such an insanely good workout. um Man, like, and I love exercise that's good for you, that you don't have to effort to do. And when somebody's choking you or trying to break your arm, it's really natural to just like use all your effort to defend yourself. And the beauty of the submission is so delicious and magical. You just like, it's so natural to pursue it fervently. So it's like, that's crazy exertion, but it doesn't take any effort because it's like a beautiful game or a magical moment, or oh my God, he's gonna kill me, or oh my God, she's breaking my arm again, and I can't stop her. What's wrong with me? She's way smaller than me. Damn it, I suck. You know, Melissa. Anyway, yeah, I tell my girlfriend we're gonna have superhero babies. We're gonna have like 6-year-olds that can choke out.
I love seeing kids practice it. Like it's so funny. I think there's a comical part of it for me because I came from being raised as not just a Buddhist, but like that's the monk. I'm saying this on recording, it's fine. Like
Awesome.
a yogi. Like
Awesome.
putting all of the information I was learning into practice and living my life that way. So the things that I do are really service. Like that's the vows I've taken as a monk or a yogi. Like it's to the core of me. So it's funny that I ended up in MMA and that everybody like my hometown and they're like, is she okay? Like, is she okay?
Yeah.
I'm not, but I am.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
totally fine.
to us,
So,
that's normal. Like that's that monk mindset. Like that's normal. Like I totally relate to that. And it's like, yeah, like a normal person would think, is he okay? Because like I was just a white belt, and in IBJJF match, it was like the semifinal, and I went down to SoCal by myself. I was a white belt. Uh, I competed in this tournament. In the second match, the semifinal, my knee fully dislocated, and I guess the ref didn't notice. And I was glad they didn't stop the match, but I didn't think about tapping for a second. All I could think was, this dude's driving on my leg. That hurts. It's already out of socket. I got to do something to get him off of driving all this pressure onto my already dislocated leg. And then, I ended up triangling him from the back and then fighting in the final and triangling that dude from top side. And like, my leg was like swelling up for 20 minutes in between. And, it's like a normal person would be like, are you okay? Like your leg broke and you didn't give up? Like, what, are you crazy? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? It's not even for money. No one's even watching. Like, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But, I mean, like, another time my professor, Eduardo, we had a visiting black belt from Brazil. Now it's going to sound like I'm bragging, but it's like the fifth black belt that Professor Eduardo asked me to roll against, and I know he wanted me to buggy choke him because he wants to show his black belt, his white belt student, they're gonna choke his ass out with something he never seen before. So I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta do my best. So this black belt dude, like he was like my size, but he was putting this like amazing shoulder pressure crossface, uh, and like, but I had him in the choke, and I knew it was deep, but he was putting this pressure on my neck like I never felt before, and I knew I should tap, but Professor was right there next to me watching, and he had just assigned us, and I was like, I got to do my best, and I can feel the choke is deep. This guy's close to tapping, and it's as a white belt, if you feel like you're close to tapping a black belt, you give anything for it, it's like, and then Professor's watching, you know so like I didn't know at the time that my neck was breaking and he was blowing out a bunch of discs, and I was going to be incapacitated for 2 years with constant shooting nerve pain, and the whole left side of my body was going to shrivel up and atrophy and spasm constantly with shooting fire nerve pain for 2 years. I didn't realize it at the time, but I choked that motherfucker out, and he tapped out to my inverse bug choke, and Professor was right there, and I don't want to go through that again, but I can't say I regret it.
right? Yeah. It sounds like, oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like that's like going to school and getting your PhD and like You're about to get published, but it's, I don't know, it's going to ruin your career. What, like, you do it because it's your passion. That's why you're there. Like that's amazing. I need to know more about this buggy choke. I can't just ignore that that's pretty incredible. That you did that. Tell me about this buggy choke, please.
Okay.
And where, like, how you came, like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm skinny, nerdy white dude. Okay. Like many jiu-jitsu practitioners. And so I trained in Berkeley all the time, Ralphie Gracie Berkeley, 1500 Ashby, come visit us. First class is always free. Professor Eduardo, Newton, everybody's amazing. So I was getting crushed under side control. I could never get out of just being dominated. I was a white belt, so that's just normal. So I spent a lot of time on the bottom half, bottom side, under mount. Yeah, just getting crushed. So one time, Big Dave, one of the black belts and co-owners of the school, he kind of like took pity on me, and he was like, Austin, come here. I just watched you get your ass whooped by like 3 people and you just suck and you can't do anything. So he didn't say that. He was nice, but I'm sure that's why he took the time. Yeah, so pitiful. So he's like, all right, if you, I'm trying to think how to word it. It's basically like if you get their head and arm, sweetie, can I use you? Come here.
This is going to be great.
Basically, like if you're on bottom side, if you can kind of, thank you. My girlfriend, Lisa. Go like your knees here, like hold me down, and then just crush me here, smash me here. So he was like, okay, if you're here, if you can get a grip here, where you have their arm and their head, you can kind of use your free foot, left foot here, to hip escape to open their elbow away from their body. You can kind of try to take them over, like sweep. So he was like, when you're in bottom side control, just grab here and like hold them. And that at least it'll help you defend yourself. So I was doing that one time at 10th Planet Walnut Creek with Professor Alex Kanders, Iron Monkey Legion. And, it was no-gi because it's 10th Planet. So I was holding my leg ligament here, and I was trying to hold them and trying to do something. And he was like, okay, I'm going to just smash this white belt. And I was like, shit, I'm getting tired because I'm having to kind of clamp down here. I was trying to like grab my shorts, and then trying to hold on like that. And then I was like, oh, I got to get deeper like this, trying to hold on my shorts because I'm just getting tired, couldn't hold him. And then I was like, oh, my elbow's right by the inside of my knee, and he's posturing out and pressing out. So I have to hold on the grip with my hand. So if I just loop my elbow inside of my knee socket right there, that lets my knee hold my elbow in place from his posturing pressure to get out. And then from there, I was like, oh my God, my hand is just right here. And that really just like levers everything in deeper. And you can make like little adjustments to go tighter and tighter. And then again, the hip escape to open their elbow, sweep over. So basically, I was trying to do that. So
you're sure swinging her around and just thanks for the demonstration.
Yeah, thank you. So like he busted out of it. I couldn't get near finishing him. He busted out of it and he tapped me out 5 times, like pretty roughly, right? He dominated me. He was like, I'm gonna show this fucking white belt. He didn't say that, but afterwards he was like, this is a good friend of mine, great guy. He's like, dude, sorry for going so hard on you. I know you're a white belt. Like, and visiting, like, this is not your home school. I know you're a beginner. Sorry for tapping you out 5 times rapidly. I hope that was not like too harsh. And I was like, no, 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 it's cool. He said, the reason I kind of went hard is like that headlock thing you had me in was like pretty tight. And I was like, start like a light bulb in my head. I was like, oh my God. Like, because he said like, oh, it kind of frustrated me, the headlock thing you had me in. And that's why he like whooped me so hard. So I was like, oh my God, like if I can frustrate a head professor, and I'm like beginner white belt, I was like, oh my God, there's got to be something here. There's something here. So that same day, that was a Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Open mat, 10th Planet Walnut Creek. Come check it out, guys. It's free every Sunday. It's awesome. So I went from there to my home gym, Ralphie Gracie Berkeley Open mat from 10 a.m. to noon. Come check us out, guys. It's free every Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon. Um, what's it called? So I went there and I grappled against this dude who was a purple belt at the time. Now he's black belt, and he's, IBJJF champion, stronger than me, heavier than me. And I put him in the same thing. And like after brainstorming with Alex, after like talking about the headlock thing, and he anyway, I put this purple belt at the time, champion purple belt dude, in the same move, and he tapped. And I was like mind blown, because this guy had whooped me every single time for like years, 3-4 years at that time. And it's like, I had never come even close to submitting him. He always just crushed me and whooped me, submitted me hundreds of times, So that solidified my belief. Like, it just like my belief in the possibility, just like I was obsessed. I was like a starved dog with like meat hanging just out of reach, and all I could think about every time I woke up is that meat. And every time I go to bed, it's all I can smell, like metaphorically, like I was just like, let me improve this technique. Let me find out what the hell the dynamics of it are, because it's my best move. It's the only thing I ever caught or frustrated these high level guys. Then the more and more I played it, the more I was like catching the best guys I'd ever caught, and every time it was with Buggy Choke, some variation. Then I found that you can flip your hips orientation to the guy and hit it facing them, and then you can hit it facing them from bottom side control, bottom half, from full guard. You can hit both inverse buggies and buggies from the back. You can hit it from mount, from top side control, from bottom north south. Man, you can hit it from like crucifix, basically like every position except for being under someone's mount. It's like every position other than that, you can do some variation of Buggy Choke, and almost no one sees it coming, you know?
That's amazing. And the last thing I I was working on before my concussion was getting out of mount. So that's actually my strongest move right now. So now I just need to learn the Buggy Choke variations and compete.
You crush them. It's so much fun, because every time you catch them, it's like they ask you, what the hell was that? I never seen that before. What did you just do to me? And I'm a white belt, and black belts are asking me this. And then I'll go travel, and the same thing. It's not like I tap all of the black belts. Of course they tap me. I'm not the best. I'm a freaking blue belt. I'm a weakling. Like, so many people just crush me, but once in a while you catch them, and it's just like guys that are just way better than me, and it's like, what does a white belt dream of more than that? It's like,
Wanted to learn it because
yeah.
that's exactly why I have 2 stripes. I want to learn something that will set me apart, which I know I'm probably pretty unique anyway. But I mean, like, moves. Like, when I shadow box, I'm dancing at the same time. So I'm learning how to continue to move what I'm watching UFC and shadow boxing. When I'm trying to incorporate these moves into like my movement, and so I'm trying to do what you've done, in my own way, and finding my own way. And now I'm gonna be obsessed with Buggy Choke, and I'm gonna have to learn all these I have to learn them. Yeah.
Oh God, it's so cool too, because like once you understand the dynamic of the choke, like how to tighten it and advance it, the same dynamic applies whatever position you are setting it up from. Because basically it's a scissors, like so like the 2 points of the scissors are your shoulder and your knee. So what's happening is the scissors close. Then you lock it in place and you squeeze it even more closed. So like, see, there's space there now in the scissors, and then the space is closed.
I don't know if I could like see that, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah, it's a lot of people think of it as a triangle, but I think it's more efficient to think of it as a scissors. And then you just bring the points of the scissors past each other and press. So it's really quite simple, even though it's kind of really pretty counterintuitive at first, especially some of the hip escaping that you're doing to set it up. Um, it's like nonsensical at first. It seems like that's not the way you would do it, but then like once you feel it, it's like it makes sense. But yeah, there's a lot of instruction out, a lot of video. Buggy Chokers group on Facebook. If you just search Buggy Chokers, and then there's Instagram. Deep Sage is DeepSageis at Deep Sages. Lots of Buggy Choke instructional stuff, and they're hitting it all over the world now, various variations, and people finally caught on that it's not just from bottom side control, it's from like every position. Master Henner Gracie is saying it's this new move that's taking over jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I'm only a blue belt, and all this happened when I was white belt. It's like unbelievable to get to live this kind of movie. I never thought I could find a move or some shit like that. It's like it just kind of happened. So the support
So
from
cool.
everybody has just been unbelievable. The Gracies, Master Half, everybody. It's just Master Eduardo. It's unbelievable, the kind of support. It's like unreal level of unfairly blessed life. So especially for as obsessed and passionate and in love with jiu-jitsu, and I'm a total fanboy of all these big names, and they're doing my shit, and I'm just like, oh my God, crazy. It's crazy.
Amazing to feel that every day. I mean, I need to come to. Can I come to your gym? Can I come and
Please
meet
come
these people?
anytime. Let me know. Yeah, it'd be great to train.
I guess I could fly or drive or whatever, but I'm not that. I'm in Colorado, so yeah, I could come.
Not too far.
That would be fun. Yeah,
Dude, come out. We'll shoot lots of good video. Man, we'll do a whole like rolling session. Oh my God. I'm a Buggy Choke.
I can't wait. Honestly, I got Buggy Choke. Okay, so I'm gonna give, I don't know, maybe 5 more minutes, and then we can wrap. If you want to show me anything, we can do that as well. But you've showed me things, so I don't want to take too much of your time. But for the last few minutes, I guess if you have any questions for me, you can ask me any questions that you want, and then I'll just kind of close with some of my jiu-jitsu history.
Yeah, tell me about your podcast, the projects you have going on.
Oh, okay. So, I hate talking about myself. I just invited you to ask me questions, and I'm like, not at all. Yes, okay. So this podcast, Freedom to Fight, I started July of this year.
Great name.
Thank you. I have a virtual counseling practice called Freedom to Connect, Freedom
Awesome.
to Connect Counseling LLC. But I wanted to kind of I'm trying to share the message of martial arts. Science says martial arts heals trauma. Cecil Vanderkolk is he's the trauma person, and I've read his book, The Body Keeps the Score, and Luis Cozolino. Luis Cozolino is a poetic writer, and he quotes the Dalai Lama and several other philosophical people. I got to teach on his book in my master's program. So I got to be a teaching assistant to PhD students over this book. So I kind of helped teach neuroscience to something that I'm not trained in. But I understand the concept of it based on Buddhism and the things that I've learned in life. So I helped teach that class with Dr. Michael Ellison. He's in Texas, and he's going to be on my show soon.
Congrats.
I know. I just, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm just talking. This is why I don't talk for myself.
You're nailing it. You're nailing it.
Okay. I was saying, oh, what was the question? I don't remember the question.
No, you answered it. The projects, the podcasts, awesome.
Projects. Okay, so yes, the other part of the project. So I have the Freedom to Connect counseling virtual practice. I have Freedom to Fight. It's LLC. It's the podcast for this. So I also have the Water Crisis Project. I need to say this because this is something I got to do in my graduate program. I got to, with my uncle, help provide clean water to Flint, Michigan, and to a few families. I flew there with one other person because that's safe. Flint is a very dangerous place. So is Detroit. Like, we were just there, 2 women. Anyway, I connected with the University of Michigan, with the organization there while I was in graduate school to help raise money for water distillers. I own a water distiller. I tested the water here, in Texas, and then in Flint to make sure it would clean the water. It does. I raised money through putting on music benefits and selling cookies and talking about it through Lyft. And I raised money and helped 20 families. I would like to still continue to help them and help Jackson, Mississippi, but those are things that I'm actively doing outside of trying to record music and do, I was in a few web series as well. Like, I have to do stuff. I've got too much energy. I can't sit.
Good. Good.
So those are the projects that I have that are on Instagram. So freedom_to_fight is my Instagram handle. Anura, my first name, 860 is my personal handle, which connects all of those pages together, and the Water Crisis Project as well. I answered that question. So next question.
Awesome. Let's see. Tell me about an ideal jiu-jitsu environment for you. Like, if you were to find a school that's just really just what you're looking for and has it could be the way the professor is, the way the culture is, the way the students treat you, the way the actual facilities are, whatever you're looking for that would be ideal for you. Just I don't know, just describe that. I think a lot of people can really relate to what you're looking for.
That's a great question. And when I started martial arts, I realized that I need a place where I can train at home. I mean, yeah, wood floors are nice with mats or whatever is nice, but I want to build a gym on some land for me and my friends to come and use. So I'm gonna pursue that. But if I were to find a gym or create a gym myself, I realized that jiu-jitsu is an aspect of meditation, and it is meditation more than anything. And so I had a unique experience before my concussion where my professor said that when he first got his black belts, I think he's had it for a decade. He's Professor Robert Wonderluck. He would train with his eyes closed.
Nice.
And started doing that, and I was better with my eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. But
That intuition, that sense.
100%. I dance with my eyes closed sometimes too, and I dance in the dark because it's tricking your brain. Like I want to know the move.
Right.
I don't want to kind of know it
Right.
in certain situations. If I'm going to dance in front of people, I don't want it to be bad. So I really have worked on it, and I think that's meditation, teaching people about yoga and breathing, all of that. I think maybe even starting a class with music and getting like even dancing together. Like I so serious, like using Just Dance through. I did that when I worked in foster care. I danced with my boss, with the foster, all of it. It connected us, it loosened us up. Then we could do meditation and breathing, and then we could start, because it's about the relationships. It's feeling safe around men being on top of you and just choking you, and like that helped heal my relationship with men, to be around guys that were I could trust, that were not going to seriously harm me. Like yeah,
that's awesome. That's powerful. Yeah. Great. That it reminds me of this
Next
one.
question. No. Go ahead.
Takes me back this one tournament match. It's actually my first tournament at Blue Belt. It's like a in-house. It was at Ralphie Gracie, San Francisco, and I remember my friend John was. I saw him beforehand. I knew he was in the same bracket as me, and I was like, "I'll see you in the final, bro." And we did. We ended up in the final. We both won our first 2 or 3 matches, and then, and he's my nemesis. He always beats me in competition. He's beat me like 3 times, and every time it's by points. He submitted me a bunch in training at school too, but in tournaments, man, I think 3 times he has me by points. But in that match, there's like a picture, and my eyes are closed, and I remember I was like trying to feel his, he was like passing my half guard, and I'm like, calm, blank face with my eyes closed, just feeling it and like breathing. It's very meditative. Yeah. It can be, I guess, depends on your approach and your style. Some people probably like hyperventilating and panic attacks and like, like, oh my God, it's choking me, standard beginning stuff. That was me for days. But yeah, it's really very, when I say intimate, I mean in the depth and the spaciousness of your awareness of the other,
That intimacy is not sex. It's not always
Right.
sex. It's
Right.
mental health professionals know that. They know it's your relation with this. Yeah,
Exactly.
being vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's I'm so happy that you came on the show and that you got me to talk about
Thank
stuff
you.
I probably wouldn't have talked about.
You're awesome.
I don't
Thank
like talking
you.
about myself. Thank you. Do you want to show me any? It's totally fine if this
Sure.
is we're free. We should stop recording and then record a separate video, maybe just for the movement.
Okay.
I can change into my gi too, because I want to mimic what you're doing. So if you'll give me just couple of minutes, I'll go change. I'm in a dress. So
Sure.
I'll go change.
That's fine.
And,
Yeah.
do you want, I think I should stop the recording and then do another one. Do you think that's, yeah. Okay. I'll send you another link in just a minute.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's it. Thanks for joining me and us today. If you want to know how to support me so that I can, pay my bills and stuff, you can subscribe monthly. You can, through ads, you can go to my Instagram at Anura, ANURA 860. That's my page. You can Venmo me. It's the same handle, Anura 860. Go to Freedom to Fight. It's freedom_to_fight. Both Instagram. I'm getting a Facebook page. I'm getting a website going. Reach out to me. Email freedom2connect223@proton.me. Again, it's freedom2connect223@proton.me. Find me online. Reach out to me if you want an interview, and give me feedback about these episodes and pay me money. Thank you for listening. Till next time.